Pat,
Yes, ma'am.
just bear with me for one moment. It's not letting me go live because it was previously scheduled. So I
Really?
gotta change.
Um,
Yeah, like
I'm seeing on my end it says it's live.
hold on.
Been live for almost 3 minutes.
Really?
Yeah.
1 second.
No rush. No worries.
She said, oh my God, I love the way you shine. Don't even try, I see you focus on your grind. I ain't never met someone like
Yo, Pat 2 times, man. 5 Fridays. Tap in, subscribe, all that shit. Look. Hey. Big body, big dog. It's Pat 2 with his little spazzing ass. Stepping on the necks of those who disrespect with they rapping ass, all capping ass. Backpacking, dick in the booty, faggot ass. Guess I got a mad cause I got a bag, but you know where you can find me at? I'll be outside. Everywhere, they all ops. Everybody, if I shoot, I ain't shoot for your legs. I'm trying to hit all tops. Everybody, fuck the small talk. They all cops. When I say that, I mean everybody. When I say that, I mean everybody. But like, why you mad that cool with me? What that got to do with you? Heard you ain't got no money over there. That's what that hater do. So save a fool. Go get some paper cheese, that cheddar gouda. Please, don't speak on me, cause they'll come and do ya. I put a third.
I need to hit the booth. I got a lot of shit to say, and I just hope my dedication gon' pay off one day. I got my heart set on my dreams, but my mind's in the way, and I'm just trying to find a way to see them better days. And nobody told me it'd be this many rainy days, but I still keep it pushing with a smile on my face. Give up everything, I'll do whatever it takes. I'm just trying to make the pain go away, so I'ma sing a lullaby. Oh.
Good evening, Mr. Pat 2 times in the building.
Good evening. How we feeling?
Oh my gosh, welcome to Upnorth City Girls.
Thank you for
I
having.
am no, thank you for coming. I've been following you for I would say a little over a year. And I was truly impressed. And I just think that your dedication, your motivation, just the things that you bring as an artist, is something to mirror. Like it's something for people to pay attention to.
Thank you
And
for that.
the consistency again, like I was just totally impressed. And I just love your sound. I love your music. I love that you're real, and you speak from the heart. And I love that.
Thank you so much. Hey, thank you so much. Yeah, yeah. It's important for an artist definitely to stay consistent in a ever so changing world of entertainment. You can get left behind real quick if you're if you're not consistent with it.
Right. Exactly, Pat. So tell me, um, when did you first get into music?
So honestly, like I like started off like in like junior high school. I would do like poems and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't until like later on in high school where I actually started like putting together words to make songs or raps, I guess, for lack of a better word. And once I realized that I could make a song and I can make it catchy, and people were like, "Oh, okay." I just kind of just did it. I kind of thrived off of the impressions that I was getting from showing people like, "Hey, look what I did." It'd be like my close friends or my family members or people that already followed like what I had going on. I just, "Hey, man, what you guys think about this?" I was always curious about
Mm-hmm.
the criticism. Constructive criticism is one thing as an artist I'm not scared of. So I just always was looking for it, and it kind of just went from there, from poetry to making music to now I'm making like different types of music. Rock, I can make a rock song, a country song, whatever.
Right. And I see that. I see, like, in regards to your last couple of tracks, like you've been singing, um, you've been, just doing everything in regards to your artistry. And I think that a lot of people don't realize that poets are usually the best MCs. They're usually the best lyricists. And that's how I started rapping, was through poetry.
Yeah,
That was
absolutely.
I definitely was inspired that way, and as well because of slam poetry. I remember, like, when
Oh
I was
wow.
coming up into like the writing era, it was like slam poetry was it. That was like the next best thing to rap. So
Yeah,
it's definitely, a big influence in regards to poetry.
absolutely, absolutely.
So tell me, who was your biggest inspiration musically?
Um, honestly, like I never found my inspiration from anybody that was just so like boom mainstream. You know what I mean? A lot of my
Mm-hmm.
inspiration came from underground artists,
Mm-hmm.
um, who kind of lived in similar environments, maybe, or even like right down the road from where I grew up. Artists like in Kansas City, underground artists in Kansas City that
Shout them
just had a
out! Shout them out!
yeah. I mean, I listened to a lot of Bay Area rappers too, like the Jacka. Um, like Kiwi and Rondo and Ron Ron and Rich the Factor. Just a lot of artists that never really like got past that brink of being an underground artist versus like boom somebody who's doing national international tours, etc., etc. But I mean,
Right.
I would say my main inspiration came from like one of my close friends, honestly.
Really?
Like, yeah, my brother, he's actually like the other half of Lil Nutty. His inspiration was the most because he was, the one that was rapping and doing songs, and I was just like, wow, man. I remember it was like a high school pep rally assembly for homecoming basketball game, and he had performed in front of the whole entire school, and I was like, wow, I've been doing that. I've been writing songs. Let me, you know
Right.
what I'm saying? Let me show him. Like, and so when I showed him, he's just like, man, you got to show people this, and it was kind of just that, like the motivation, like, here, man, you don't hide this forever,
Right. Right. I love it. I love it. That's a dope story.
But I
That
do have I do have like inspirations as far as like what structured my artistry, who I like to listen to, who I like the sounds of. I like the sounds of like Tusi and Frank Ocean. When Frank Ocean was popping, his sound was impeccable. And So
Mm-hmm.
I mean, there's mainstream artists that kind of helped pave the path that I was trying to take. But as far as like the motivation and inspiration, it definitely came from like my inner core.
Right. That's awesome. I love that because it's definitely makes a difference. From you seeing it, on the mainstream opposed to seeing real artists, um, evolve over time, and you were actually, with them. Like that's definitely a helpful development. I think. You know what I mean? Like
Absolutely.
like kids who have parents who are artists and they grow up watching their parents, they then become better artists than their parents in a
Yeah,
lot of
because you
times.
know the what to do's and what not to do's if
Hmm.
you're watching it along the way. Absolutely.
Hmm. So tell me, who would you most like to collab with?
I'm sorry. You kind
Mainstream,
of
or
you
I
kind of
know you
broke
said
up
you
a
like
second.
Drake.
I'm so sorry.
I said,
I didn't
who
hear
would you like to collab with?
as far as just in general, or like it's got to be a
Yeah,
mainstream artist.
it could
Um,
be both.
man, I want to do a song with Rod Wave or Kevin Gates so bad, uh, but
Hmm.
I'm big bucks away from that. I know that's gonna So I'm gonna keep pursuing, and keep driving, and I'll pick up features along the way. I've picked up big collaboration features
Yeah,
that
let's
are
talk about those. I know you had a feature with T-Rail.
yeah, yeah.
Yes, that's dope. I love that.
Yeah, that's a big deal, and that feature itself, it changed. I originally did the song, and I sat on it for so long. I've probably been having that unreleased track for more than a year. Actually, I know for a fact more than a year. April 9th of last year, I opened up for T Rail, and I had already got the feature from him before that.
Oh wow! So did you guys perform it that night, or
No, no, we didn't, and that's okay. We didn't. I didn't perform it with him, but we
he can
definitely
always come back?
can always come back, and I changed it. I wasn't feeling it after a while, and so I'm like, you gotta do something different. So I did something different, took a different approach, and it just fits so much better. So I've been holding on to it because I want to release it, like, and I want it to be a bigger deal than just me dropping a song with T Rail featured on
Right,
platforms. Maybe like a music video, or
right,
maybe if a show, a bigger show that he's a part of, that I'm also a part of, or something. Then we kind of exposed to the world, like, hey, look what we did. But
right.
I do want to gear towards getting some bigger features. Like I said, I like Kevin Gates a lot. I've always listened to Kevin Gates, uh,
Mm-hmm.
and Tusi sound and Rod Wave sound. They just got them kind of like feel good energies to them. You know what I mean? Like that's that's kind of sound that I try to have.
Right. Exactly. Definitely a vibe. And it's definitely more upbeat and the more of the motivational music. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
I always say like some music definitely gives you, energy, and you have to decide, you have to decipher which is good energy music and which is bad for you. You know what I mean? We all have different, I guess, wave
Absolutely.
patterns, you know?
Absolutely. One
That's
man's trash is another man's treasure.
right. Exactly.
Absolutely. I understand it.
So you said definitely that you would like to work with Kevin Gates, as well as Rod Wave. So I know that's probably who you would be interested in opening for if you had the
Oh,
opportunity.
oh man. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And only because I know that like the music that I make is gonna like grab the attention of their followers, and that's the name of the game, honestly. Like I don't have to impress Rod Wave or Tusi.
Right.
I want to impress their fan base, like because them guys got massive fan bases, and that it's not always about getting another artist's attention. You gotta try to find your audience. Like
Mm-hmm.
so,
Exactly.
if I can find an audience that already like likes that kind of energy, then
Right.
like how else would I expect it to happen?
Right.
It would work great.
And that's what I always tell artists, Pat. Honestly, like when you open it up for these artists, you have to be uh impact. You have to make an impact because you're basically taking someone else's fan base and you're trying to earn that sale of that person's interest. So you definitely have to sell yourself. You have to be ready
Absolutely.
to, you have to give it all you got because they're really coming here to see the person that they paid the ticket for. They don't necessarily know who you are as an opener. So now
Absolutely.
what's going to be the impact? How are you going to set the stage to make sure that you leave an impact? I tell people merch. I tell people you have to have floor presence, you have to have stage presence, you have to put on a show. And the one thing that I don't watch a lot of people's show performances. I because I've seen them, people are bad videographers. Like it's just so bad.
People be
So
drunk.
yes, and it's like you hear all this other shit going on, and you're like, "Oh my god!" Like, and then they're moving the phone, the camera. I get seasick. I get like all types of sick. So I'm like, "Yeah, no, I can't." But with yours, I watch them and I love the energy that you bring on the stage. That to me is I don't even have to come see you live yet to know that you're an entertainer and that you own the stage and you know how to move from one side of the stage to the other. And just the crowd's engagement with you, the energy is real. You know what I mean? Like energy doesn't
Absolutely.
lie. So I was definitely impressed by that. And that's one of the things that I say artists should mirror. Get a person who's actually videographing, the right angles, the right thing. Like it's
Yeah.
all
So
important.
it, it's definitely important. And so it got to the point, like for me, it got to the point where I couldn't. You're absolutely right. I agree with you. I can't just have my homie recording out in the crowd or my brother recording out in the crowd. And no, I gotta like pay somebody to
Right.
actually that somebody for that one actually does that type of thing, that
Mm-hmm.
knows what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And so, and then it always sounds better from a camera than it does from a phone. I mean, just
Right.
so every time I perform, I'd make sure I've paid somebody that's gonna be like, hey, we're gonna highlight
Right.
your performance. We're gonna highlight the peaks of your performance because not every performance is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not scared to admit that, and it definitely takes practice. You can't be up there just standing in one spot, like shoulders all tense, trying to. You gotta have fun, man. You gotta feel the energy, and you gotta ride that wave that it creates, and just go with it and go for it. Honestly, like a lot of people, I've seen a lot of people like get scared, choke up, and miss a great opportunity to. I mean, even if it's an opportunity to get on another show, or you know what I mean.
Right.
But
Right.
it's like you were saying, it's also important to understand what type of like crowd you're working with and the energy of the crowd too. Like if I you can't have like a screamo rapper opening up for Rod Wave because everybody's
Mm-hmm.
gonna be like, "What the hell?" You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, not to say that the art is bad, but it's got to make sense. It has to make
Mm-hmm.
sense. And so
It
sometimes
has
I feel like that falls on the promoters. That's more of the promoter's job to worry
right.
about than it is as an artist because you're offering what you have as an artist.
Mm-hmm.
Promoter's job to make it fit.
It's true. It's very true. Promoters don't realize that. Like, you set the show. And if you keep putting bad artists on just because you want to fill the slot and because you just want to, basically sell slots to artists to open, you're never going to get that energy of a concert or feeling like you're at a actual legit organized event. That's important. I tell people this
or
all the
or e-
time.
or even if you're not charging to get on the slot, but oh, Joe Blow from down the road, he's a local here. He's gonna sell 60 tickets regardless of
Hmm.
who's opening up. 60 out of 400 capacity venue is a decent amount of tickets to sell.
Right.
I don't care who the national act is. We got to have him. Like that kind of stuff is silly to me because if it don't make sense, it's not gonna work. Like
Hmm.
so,
And now
down
tell me, yeah, go ahead.
yeah, down here in my area, they don't charge to to perform on bigger shows. But I mean, if you can't sell tickets, you're not going to get put on a show.
Mm-mm.
That's just that. And I mean, it's a business too. So obviously, like, why would a promoter put a brand new artist who's just now coming out as a local artist on a big ass show and you can't even sell 10 tickets or you
Right.
know?
And
So
that's the camaraderie, I think, of it is that you basically earn the spot to even
yeah,
get to that point of opening for an artist. Like that's important. So tell me, what is it like? Because I know you do your own shows. In regards to basically promote yourself. You basically build your own events and things like that. Like event planning is a big part of, like, I tell people all the time, you have to create a demand. Um,
hmm
and that, for me to see so many people out there reciting your music, that tells me you have a demand. That tells me that Pat two times brought a certain amount of people to this building that know his music. Um, and I think that's very important to recognize because we don't see that as much in my area. You know what I'm saying? It's few far in between. New England, up north people are kind of bougie when it comes to supporting like that. Like we're like,
yeah,
oh,
yeah, yeah.
and they ain't
So
from my hood. Like it's more of that energy, and I try to get away from that. That's why I'm from Boston, but I don't represent just for Boston. I represent for 6 states because that's the regional pull that we need in order to make an impact
absolutely,
for this business. And artists haven't really understood that yet, so
absolutely. So for me, it was a matter of like my inner core of support. Basically, the Loyal Naughty team. Like, not everybody wants to be a rapper, and that's important.
mhm,
You know what I mean? If you got 6 guys trying to compete to do the same thing, everybody wants to be the star on stage. It won't work. You got to have somebody that's willing to be the cameraman, somebody that's willing to be the hype man, somebody that's willing to work the merch table, somebody that's willing to, pass out flyers and cards and here, check out his music and do this, that, and the third. And so it's like I was
mhm,
saying earlier, it kind of takes a village. Like, there's no way in the world I'd have made it as far as I've made it, which I still got a long way to go, but there's no way I would have even made it this far by myself. So
mhm,
for me, it was the selection of like, okay, she over here, she don't want to be nothing. She just supports and she's hype and she knows all my lyrics. She's got to go everywhere we go. Him over
mhm,
here, he's willing to work the merch table. He don't want to do nothing else. He's willing to make his money and work the merch table. He's got to go everywhere we go. This
mhm.
guy does the camera work. He does the camera work really well. He don't want to be nothing else but the cameraman. He's got to go everywhere we go. And I think that, as like, when people see us move as a unit, it's like, okay, what do they got going on? If they don't know who we are, what do they got going on? And now they're going to be more inclined to watch us. And
Right.
then they see the stage presence and the entertainment part of it, and they're like, "Wow,
Mhm.
this is cool." And so now, bam, I got 50 new fans just like that. And
Just like that, with that unity. I tell people, formation, that's what builds brands. That's what builds attention for people, is that when they see people moving unison, it's
absolutely,
like, who are they? You know what I mean? You learn that in the art of war. That you have to move in unison. That's the only way. You're stronger together than you are apart. And you have to move that way if you're trying to attack a certain market. You know what I'm saying? So I
absolutely.
respect that.
And then
That's
you could tell the difference too. Like, if like when I go out of state and perform, not everybody can come out of state when I can go out of state. You know what I mean? Life
Mhm.
still happens regardless of what you guys are doing. So it's definitely different. Like, going without the whole team and everybody's got their role that they're playing, and it
I,
definitely
I tell you, I've been on a label. I've done it with the big team. I've done it by myself, and I am a one woman show. As you see,
yeah,
like it's like I
yeah,
have to show up
absolutely,
regardless because this is my passion. And this is what I do in regards to taking what I do seriously. I have to be here. I have to make sure the show goes on.
absolutely,
And that's, I think dedication, I think that's important for people to understand. It's not easy. Sometimes you get, discouraged, distracted, everything can be be happening all at once. So I commend you for being able to stay relevant and stay present that way. I know that you're, I don't know if she's your wife, or I know you guys have kids together, right?
Yeah,
But I see her at the shows, and I just want to say shout out to you for having a woman that supports you in your craft and what you're doing. Because, like I say, it's not easy for people in this business, and you have to
absolutely.
have a partner. So that was one of the things that I seen, and I seen she was like shouting out all your words, everything. I was like, yo, this is what you need as a unit, as a team. And the
Absolutely.
people
Shout out to her too, man, because it's definitely important. And
yeah,
like I was just saying, she's just one that sees the vision and she sees what's going
yeah.
on. You can realistically like make a decision whether or not this is gonna be worth it for you to chase or push with me, or I'm gonna push this by
Mhm.
myself. Like you were saying, I got to do it regardless.
I got to do it
Um,
regardless. I had
yeah,
that
but
conversation this week. Somebody told me, "Oh, you shouldn't be doing this no more. You need to change what you're doing. You're too old to be dealing with rappers." I'm like, dude, what? Like, do you know who I am? Do you know what
and,
I've built?
and do you
Why?
not know that rap is forever?
Right. Like, there's a
Rap is
business, there's
forever.
entertainment. There is no age limit, and that's the one thing I learned
I'll tell that to
early.
DJ Vlad and them type of guys. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
Adam
I was
22.
I said, honey, you worry about your direction. I'm gonna worry about mine, because I know what I'm made for. You know what I mean? And it's not just the actual picture of the entertainment side. It's also the marketing and the advertising side that excites me. Is being able to create things that are gonna help campaign for artists or for a business or for a brand. That's what's important, to me, is being able to sell and market things. So I've also done, so many other things in this business, and I think it just comes with it. It's one of those things that if you're really serious, you're going to learn every part of the business, and
Absolutely.
you have, so shout out to you for that.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely more than what I thought it was gonna be when I jumped in the car and took off with the vision. You learn something new every day. The business behind the doors, that's the biggest part. I mean, people don't understand how much money that it costs
Right.
to, like, okay, for example, you had shared something, and it's been something that I'd been seeing. It's Spotify saying like 38 million songs got zero play on platforms last year, and that's kind of crazy, but it goes hand in hand with the marketing budget and where you want to put your music at and how you want to get it to reach different masses and stuff. And nothing is free.
Nothing
Nothing
is
is free.
free. Not
It's
these
not.
playlists. Not
It's not
nothing.
paying. It's not paying for views. You're a fool if that's your outlook on it. It's not paying for views, or you're going to be one of them 38 million people that are sitting at zero plays, no generated revenue streams.
You have to
It's
look attractive. People love numbers. People love to see that you're important enough for a certain amount of people to watch you or look at you. That's when you start generating attention. And you have to learn how to play the game. I was telling artists this years ago. I'm like, listen, this is the game that we're in now, even with social media. It's so overly populated and so oversaturated with music that how else are you going to compete? You
right,
have to invest in yourself. And this is
right.
the perfect example of why I say to people, if you can't invest in your own marketing, then you're not serious about what you're doing. That's just it. You know what I mean? Like, why should I
Absolutely.
invest in you? Why should I invest my time as a manager,
If
as an A&R for you? Why should I invest my time if you're not willing to invest your own money?
if you're not willing to invest in yourself at this point, you just got a hobby.
Right.
I mean, and you just do it just because you like to do it.
But
Because
even hobbies, you got to pay for.
yeah, absolutely. I was about to say, man. Even that costs money sometimes too. So it's like,
I'm like,
and
yeah, you can't go bowling. You can't do any of this shit that you want to do. It's a sport. I
and
always say rap is a sport. It is, and it's
yeah,
an
it
exercise.
is. It
It's
is. And
consistent.
honestly, for
Well,
me, I that was one of the cruel realities that I faced when I first started. It's like, why don't you want to give me $50,000 to help me? Well, have you spent $50,000 on yourself? Well, no.
Right.
All right then, you know what I mean? Like, so gotta
So
invest in
tell me
yourself
that
first.
if it wasn't for music, what would you be doing right now?
Something I don't want to be doing, probably. I I can't pinpoint it, but probably would. If honestly, it probably wouldn't be good. It wouldn't be any good news. The music kind of is like a for me. It's like a therapy. It's like a pastime. It's just like a way of life. Honestly, like if they stripped music away from the world today, like I would go crazy. Um, I'm sure I'm not the only one either. Like I don't know. I don't know. That was a good question. I don't know what I would be doing. Probably wouldn't be good. No.
No, I think it would be good.
I mean, it
Um,
might be. I don't want to say that. I do got a good head on my shoulders, but the music was just the like. I didn't even have to go looking for it. It like came and found me. You know what I mean? Like it was
mhm.
like I was saying.
You don't have
I was
any
doing
other
drugs.
hobbies, anything else that you like to do? It could be anything. Um,
I mean,
sports.
no. I used to be into sports and stuff, and I mean, I'm not opposed to pick up basketball at the park once in a while, but no, like I'm full time employee. I'm full time employee, full time daddy, full time business owner. So it ain't no and full time artist. So it really ain't no like
Time.
it ain't no other hobbies, man. This is what we live, breathe, and eat.
So tell me before we talk about the brand because I want to talk about that. But tell me a little bit about your background in regards to like where you were from because I know I thought you were from Springfield, Missouri, but you told me that you had moved there. So now it made me question like, okay, so where is he originally from? Like, and I want to know that. I want to definitely know that background about you.
So I'm from a smaller town in Missouri called Sedalia. Sedalia,
Okay.
Missouri is the home of the Missouri State Fair. It's like
Okay.
a hop, skip, and a jump away from Kansas City, Missouri.
Okay.
Down here in Springfield, it's a hop, skip, and a jump away from St. Louis, Missouri, which is like if you put them side by side, you got two completely different areas in the same state. You know what I mean?
Really?
Yeah. So I did a lot. I did a lot of growing up more like in Kansas City. Obviously Sedalia. I was actually living in Kansas City when I moved to Springfield.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm from Sedalia. Growing up was it was all right. I mean, parents tried their best. We just bad kids, man. You know what I mean? We're just bad kids. I was a little bit different though. Like I was really diligent about school. I made sure that I was gonna do school. I actually was like super intelligent and had some big accomplishments in school. But when I got older and I got a better like reality of life, I guess, and was a free man and making my own decisions, all that went out the door. All that
Right.
went out the door. Um, I regret it sometimes, but I can't regret it because it's kind of shaped who I am.
Right.
Sometimes I think back like, damn, I was accepted into San Diego State University out of high school.
Wow, dude.
And that's like a big school. Like, that's a big
Right.
thing.
San Diego, Diego.
And I messed it off. I messed it off, man. I, life, I started partying and working and had different aspirations to do different things. School was not it. It wasn't what was appeasing to me anymore.
Right.
And I always had a job though, so like I've always made my
Been a
own
work.
money.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like to work. Work is essential because
Mhm.
you need a break from like life, and work
Right.
offers that. So
And you need structure. Like I tell
yeah,
people, I don't even understand life without work. Like even if I was a billionaire, millionaire, I would still go to work. I would have to do something every day. I would have to have a routine. Like I couldn't just sit around and wait for life to happen.
right,
Um, I think that's the part like that builds character for people. You know what I mean? Like I don't
right,
know, this generation it's different because they don't feel like they look online and they see like all these people that are famous just off of a TikTok. So they think, oh yeah, I'm gonna become one of those people. It's not as
Right.
easy as people think it is. You know what I
And
mean?
a lot of people don't understand, like them people that blow up on TikTok, like they already got something going for them that helped advance that. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't just a random person that decided to make a TikTok one day and just boom.
Right.
Now they're famous. They worked towards it. They invested in it. They believed in it, and they just made it happen.
That's right. So true. I like, and that's the part. Like they don't see the behind the scenes aspect of it. Um, so tell me, what's your favorite song to perform?
Club rock, by
I
far,
know it.
by
I know
far.
it.
It's the first. It's usually the first song of the show set.
Right.
Um, I mean that song, and then I got a couple songs that I do the last song of the show set too that do really well. Um, but club rock just gets people going. Like gets them excited for the next song. So of course, like I can't perform club rock and then perform a song that just like turns them off to it. I got to kind of keep that energy. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. I
But yeah,
respect that. Like, that was
definitely club rock.
definitely that energy. Like it's a, and you have to be like, I tell artists all the time, like sometimes they'll send me show sets and they're like, I'm like, dude, this is not like a song that you should be playing in a club. This is not a club banger. This is not a,
Yeah,
this is
and
like,
I've done it before.
yeah. It's like, it's dear to you. You want to get it out there, but some things are just not meant for the club.
Yeah,
And
you got to do
you
get
have
it
to
out there
know,
another way.
get have a listening party and get people's real honest opinion is what I tell people. You know what I mean? Like, would you
Yeah,
listen to this in the club? Would you walk away? Would you dance? Would you be bopping to this? Like,
yeah.
you know,
Would,
that's
would you
important.
partake? Would you partake in the gestures and you
Right.
know? But yeah, club rock, man. It's just the beat is so tough for one, and then I do like a little 5 second like intro like talk where I'm introducing myself. I'm like, hey, like we're about to party. You know what I mean? Obviously, we're about to party. When you hear the doom doom, like the whole
Right.
building's rattling, and everybody just throw their hands up in the air, like yeah. I got you guys hooked now. You know what I mean? Like boom,
Hmm.
and
Hmm.
we just party, man. We rock out, and we just I just let them catch the vibe and try to carry that throughout the rest of the show set.
So tell me, what's the best advice that you've been given as an artist?
Um, the best advice I ever got was to spend the necessary amount of money on your mixing and mastering.
Right.
Um, and that's important too, because not everybody can do it.
Hmm.
Um, and I mean, I've gotten that advice as an artist, and then I've gotten advice as an entertainer, which kind of stuck to me too because there's a difference. I mean, not every artist is an entertainer. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, you gotta spend the money on your sound. You gotta spend the money on your image. You gotta spend the money on the idea of your artistry. If you don't, and my advice was it happened in a cruel way too. So it was like, oh man, shot to the heart. You know what I mean? Like, I had went to, I don't know if you know what Coast to Coast is.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had went to the Coast to Coast thing, and it was an A&R. It was an A&R there, and he asked me like one question only. After my performance, he asked me one question. He said, "Hey kid, how many Instagram followers you got?" And I was like, like 3,000. He's like, "Oh, nice. Spend some more money on your sound." And that was it. That was it. That was the end of the conversation. And then I was like, wow, that was kind of strange. And I didn't know who he was at the time until after the fact. And I'm seeing him up on the stage, and I'm like, oh man. It kind of
Wow,
sunk
dude.
in like I gotta spend more money. I can't keep spending $20 an hour in the studio. I might have to go spend 60 an hour in the studio to find the sound that I want to find. You know what I mean?
Right. And that's the thing. It's like you have to be creative. You have to step outside your comfort zone, and be like the one thing I say about artists who are there's a classic artist and then there's a one hit wonder artist for me. And classic artists are artists who have been able to evolve and change with the time and being able to like, and I'm talking Jay-Z, I'm talking Drake. Those are
Right.
classic sweet artists. They are relevant, still relevant in this industry after how many years? You know what I mean? And they've been able to intertwine into this new realm. So that for me tells me that they practice, they exercise, that they tried to step outside their comfort zones to become evolved artists. Because that's
Ab-
important. Music is forever changing. It's vastly changing.
Absolutely. And it's
And you
and
have
it's
to
so
keep up with it.
crazy
You have
too.
to constantly, and that's the one thing where artists they have that. "Oh, this is who I'm not changing," and I'm like, you know what? This relationship ain't gonna work.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know,
Yeah, yeah. So that yeah,
it
it's funny
does
that you,
it. And I'll be honest,
it's funny that you said that because I've got some people on my team that they'll tell me like, yeah, Pat, okay, the new song's dope, but man, you gotta do something different. You gotta try to do it like this, or you gotta try to
switch
sound
it
like this.
up.
Sometimes I'm annoyed with it, like, man, shut up. Like just let me make the music. And then I see what he's talking about. I'll see the point proven and I'm like, oh, all right, touche. You know what I mean? Like touche. Because had I
I mean,
taken heed to his advice and executed different, the results might have been different.
that's right. It's the truth, and I respect that you identify that because again, I've dealt with artists for years that still are not willing to change, and this is why they're not
That's
where they want to be. You know what
that's
I
because they
mean?
know it
And
all.
yeah, trying new things. Like I said to the other day, and you chimed in like. Up here, up north, artists be like, if I put them on a show or I ask them to perform and they got to sell tickets, they're like, oh, I don't sell tickets.
You should pay me to
What?
sell tickets.
Like, dude, like, but you can't bring 10 people. You can't bring 10 people to a show, but you don't want to sell tickets. You just want the promoters to bring the show. That
Yeah,
to
that's
me
all it is. Hell,
is crazy.
I could bring 10 people to Boston.
Like, that's crazy to me. Like, I'm like, no, like 10 tickets, like, and I'm trying to, work numbers that make sense. And you get most of that back is profit to the artist. I just
Yeah, and
want you to show me that you have a demand.
that's cool that you do that too, because not all promoters are like that, man. You don't get to different regions in the states, and they're not like that. You can pay $500 for a slot, and that's it. You don't get no
Right,
tickets to sell back, or you know what I mean. That's
right.
because promoters are tired of dealing with artists that can't sell tickets. So
Yep,
screw it. We're gonna just sell this slot because to make up for our lack of ticket sales, and we don't care the
yep,
turnout, which is also
yep.
silly. But that's another story.
But that's another story, but that's very true and prevalent.
Yes, and it
Um,
kind of molds how people get booked, and artists don't
mhm,
understand that their lack of initiative to even just do something as simple as selling a ticket will change the game, and it slowly and surely does.
right.
No, I'm
So
not
tell
opposed.
me,
I'm not
so
opposed to
tell
selling
me,
tickets.
tell me what this is. Can you
What
see
this
it?
is,
Yeah.
this right here is the lifeline. This is the symbol of our brand, Lil Naughty. And the cool thing about it too is I had mentioned that I'm not the sole owner of Lil Naughty, right? So my
Mhm.
my brother, who was part of the motivation that we spoke about earlier, that that symbol, that hand sign, is actually his hand that he took a picture with on his phone, and that's how that came about. Like it was just so
Wow.
it was so perfect. Like, and really he started saying it, like he would start saying the thing, because we were originally like young hitter money music group, like,
Uh huh.
and he kept saying this little naughty stuff, and I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? Like
Right.
what is this? And I mean, like,
Right.
it's like, just think about it, man. Like, I'd rather you be loyal to me in my face, or even behind my back than to, love me publicly or behind closed doors. Like, so we kind of just set loyalty as the one and only standard. Like, I don't care how you feel about me. You could be mad at me as long as you're loyal to me. And so we just take that to heart, man. And like, you show you
Royal Nazi.
loyal naughty, right?
So
And it's
Nazi,
what's that?
not what is naughty for?
So he it's kind of silly, but I mean it's really not because it's so like household. It's got like a household sound to it. It's like it was Illuminati,
Uh-huh.
but he just put the loyal there.
Oh, that's
Because
dope.
when you think about it, the people, I don't know much about the Illuminati and whatnot, but they got to have some type of loyalty within their core of what they're doing, or
Right.
obviously it won't work. And,
Right.
and that's why you get people that die and whatnot. But it
Loyal
just
naughty.
loyal naughty. It sounds so
I
household to
gotta get
me.
some merch. I like that.
Well,
Like
you
I'm
send me
all
some
about that.
you send me some info. We'll get you some merch. I'm about to drop this female line. It's the first female line that we're doing. We're gonna do these boy shorts, and like bikini wear and stuff. And we're gonna do the loyal, but then we're gonna do naughty, and we're gonna spell naughty out how naughty's spelled instead of
Mm-hmm.
our naughty,
Uh-huh.
nati. And I think it was just kind of a little clever play on the word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like that.
So I'm excited to see how that does. I haven't really like targeted the female population like that yet. Like most of our merch is kind of just unisex, so
Right.
I'm excited to see how that goes. But
Definitely.
the little naughty thing is a big deal to us, and we wouldn't taking it super serious until I moved to Springfield and I started getting opportunities to do shows, and now I'm doing all these shows. I got all kinds of shows. I need a brand. You know what I mean?
Right.
So
That's right.
we adopted it as our image. We got it LLC, trademarked and copywritten, and
Yep.
we've been running with it.
So now tell me, I know that you just got some good news from some record labels. So let's talk Empire. Let's talk Universal. Let's talk.
Yeah, so I'm not even sure. Like, it's just one of them things. It's like you never know who's watching you.
That's right.
And so it's important. It's important to carry yourself in a manner and in a professional manner, and you want to be articulate when you speak, when you sing, when you're doing business. Yeah, I didn't even know that was a thing until I checked my email. Honestly, like I didn't even know. I mean, because if you think about it, man, I don't got millions or even hundreds of thousands views on songs and et cetera, but I just opened my email up the other day and was like, wow, this is crazy.
Yeah.
And that I did a little bit of research on before I before I
Uh-huh.
was like, oh my god. And yeah, they just wanted to hear some music. They wanted to see what kind of music I was capable of making, what kind of numbers I see myself pulling if I had the right resources, et cetera, et cetera.
Hmm.
And
And that's what it is. It's definitely a business that you never know who's watching when they're watching,
yeah,
and what they're watching. You know what I mean?
and
Like,
you got to be able to sell yourself.
right.
You got to be able to do it. And like we talked about earlier, like the merch and the moving around and networking and stuff like that is important because, like we just said, you don't know who's watching. You could go to. I could have been at the T Rail show just as an opening performer, and it's an Interscope A&R in there, or a Universal Music Group A&R in there, and I would have never known it.
Mm-hmm.
So if I was drunk or doing too much, I mean, they're gonna see that, and they're not gonna be inclined to reach out to you. So
Yep.
I don't know what it stems from. Honestly, I don't know what it stems from, but I'm glad it did. I went through it, and it went well. I learned some things. I got some feedback that I was looking for. I'm always open to advice and constructive criticism, et cetera, et cetera. And I was told what I need to do next in order to give myself that extra push to where we can sit down and we can, really make something big happen. And so,
Well, I love it because, again, I have the platform where I have A&Rs in Empire. I have A&Rs in Universal who are constantly, Sony, everybody reaching out to me to, book their artists, to, to have artists on our platform. So it's definitely the presence. I think that like you bring. And I think that you have to have, like you said, a marketer. That's what's gonna pick you up on these, like I said, the hashtags. Like I'm all about the hashtags. I'm
The
all about
algorithms.
the algorithms. And this is where people are like, okay, who's that guy, Pat Two Times? Oh, I see you got somebody from Springfield, Missouri coming on. Like, this is why I spotlight the artist the way I do consistently on a promo run. And so that's my portion of how I get artists seen and how I get them looked at. And I feed your music consistently to my market and my network. So that way, even if you didn't see it one day, you're going to see something one day. You know what I'm saying? Like where artists will tell me, T, because of your marketing, people know me in the mall. Like they're like, "Hoi, hey, I seen you online." Like
Yeah, I
you
was
have to create that presence, and that.
absolutely, absolutely, and I'm super thankful that you're like that too, because I was literally just telling my brother yesterday, dude,
Mm-hmm.
My Instagram went up like 40 followers, and I
Yep,
haven't been on Instagram in 3 days, but she's
that's
tagged
right.
me in 7 or 8 different posts, and it was like,
Mhm.
wow, she's
Like
got.
these industry people, they go behind my back and they go and hit up the artists and they do all these things. And I'm just like, but as long as the artist gets that attention and that notoriety of who to look for and things like that, that's what this platform is all about. Is
Absolutely,
breaking artists and bringing artists to the forefront in our region, because now you're an artist that I'm going to constantly push in our region. So now you have that consistent marketing in a whole nother region. And you can say to the next record label, I have a marketer, I have, somebody that I work with these different things. And we're also trying to bring a tour with our Up North City Girl and Real Talk with TML artists. And we kind of trying to build a suite tour. So it's going to be a consistent tour. And this is, I think, how you build um a following for these artists, at this point. I think that a lot of
absolutely,
down south, people don't realize that a lot of these artists that are not even artists that we know up north, but they're consistently in the market, and this is why they're getting more people to their shows. If you stay consistently doing music at one venue, of okay, the first night it might not be as many, but I guarantee you by the fifth night you're gonna have 10 more fans. You know what I mean? Like that's
absolutely,
20 more fans, 30 more fans. You know what I'm saying? Because they consistently see you at one place. Um,
absolutely.
so they know where to find you. You know what I mean? Like artists
Absolutely,
need to understand that.
I can honestly second that. Believe it or not, I haven't been performing for years. I actually have only been performing for like a year.
Yeah,
Um,
right, dude.
and I did, I don't know, 70 shows last year. You know
Right.
what I mean? And I only made merch money, or
Wow.
or I
That's what we
only
do.
or I only made ticket sales money.
Mm-hmm.
But even then, you got to put in footwork. If you're not gonna sell 60 tickets, you're not going to see $300 or
That's right.
whatever you feel is worth it. You know what I mean? So I can
You're
second, I can definitely second that. My first, granted, I don't know, my first performance was pretty lit, but it definitely got better. And then I started seeing more people citing my lyrics and, oh, that's Pat Two Times. Let me take a pic. Or,
right.
hey, can you sign my shirt? And it's a little naughty shirt. I didn't even realize that first. And I was like, wow, this is crazy. Like, this is
That's
nuts.
awesome, Pat.
And
That's
that's
awesome.
what drives it all, honestly. Like, if you're like me, that's kind of like what
Yeah,
would push you to do it some more. And okay, let's see if I can. Let's go to Boston and see what I can do. Or you know what I
that's
mean?
right. We're gonna have you out here for sure.
For sure, I can't wait for it.
That's right. I'm definitely trying to get that happening. And I have some artists that I think that you would be dope with collabing with and working with out here. That's another part of this that, we're gonna, press for is the collaborations with these artists in different regions. And I just want artists to understand the effects of that. And
Absolutely.
how we make that work for you on so many different levels. I'm a marketing I don't want to pat myself on the back, but I sell everything. I done sold everything. I done
I
sold
see. I see.
like
Pat yourself on the back.
so this is where it's like for me, I'm all about the overall thinking about how we can make this work for everybody.
Yeah, you've got an understanding of the general like scope of the whole business.
Yeah.
It's
And
it's
I'm all
it,
about
it
I'm
definitely
all
draws people. It definitely draws people. That type the people that do the kind of things that you do definitely stands out. It's like a sore thumb. It's like, wow, it's like she really cares about what we're doing as artists and what we're doing wrong, maybe what we're doing wrong or what we could be doing better to get us. And you never know who you're working with. We don't know not everybody knows your experience, your
right.
history, who you know. I
Mhm.
mean, it's important to
And that's
just
the
take
thing is
everything.
when I was into music, I never got to that point of actually recording till I was like later in life. I always just freestyled. I pushed everybody else before me. And that I think is what hindered me. You know what I mean? Is that I wanted to see everybody else make it before my own self. So I was very selfless in a lot of senses. And that in turn, once I turned in my 30s, I was like, listen, do you really want to be trying to compete with Beyonce and Nicki and, trying to live up to this expectation? Like, no, like, so you have to give back and you have to develop and help
Absolutely.
people develop.
And
But I've also been a jack of many trades. So I've taken everything that I've learned from the streets to the business to every type of business that I've actually worked for. And I've conjoined all those things to create this marketing media empire. And that's where I think people don't understand. Like, this is not just me knowing music. This is me knowing business. This is me knowing sales. This is me knowing marketing. This is a whole different array and creativity. You know what I'm saying? Because
social
you
media
have to
management, all
live.
types of stuff.
I had to learn graphics. I had to learn videography. Right now I'm about to learn how to fucking press and do my own merch. Like, I'm just like, listen, teach me. Because now when people try to overcharge me or try to tell me, oh, it's this price, you know what? I'll go do it myself. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because sometimes you need to learn hands on. So
And
you
I
know
feel
and you appreciate what you're paying for.
absolutely, and I feel like regardless of what you're doing, you kind of got to understand like where you want to take it, and then the
Right.
reality of it. As an artist, if you want to be as big as Jay-Z, you can't be 30 just now starting. Just to be honest,
Right.
like it's not gonna work
Right.
unless you got millions of dollars to pump into your image and into your marketing and to push you there. You got to understand where you want to take it. So for me as an artist, I don't want to be just a big old mainstream artist. And if that happens, I'm not opposed to it. But my like end goal is to make a comfortable living doing what I like to do. And music is what I love to do. So if I could, even if
Right.
I was just making as much money as I make at my day job,
Right.
that would be suffice enough for me to keep going and then pursue different ventures elsewhere with merchandise and websites and you know, party planning and throwing different parties. I mean, there's so many different ways to make money.
That's right.
So many
That's
different
all
ways.
right. So tell me, Pat, what's next for you? Like, I know you have some things you're working on, but tell me, do you have some events that you have going on?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I stay. I stay with an event. Montana 300. Do you know who Montana 300
Yeah,
is?
I do. Shout out to Montana.
Yeah, from Chicago. Yep, yep. So we were supposed to. I was supposed to open for him last year, and he had some type of legal issues that prevented that from happening. But he's a man of his word, and he stuck here to Springfield next weekend, actually, the 22nd.
Okay,
So I'll be opening for him on the 22nd,
that's dope.
and then in May we're flying to Orlando to shoot a music video for an unreleased track that I've done, and I've got a Kansas City featured artist on there.
Okay.
Um, so I mean, it's gonna be a big deal. You know, we got Airbnb booked. We got models coming out there with us. I've
Now
never been
wait,
to.
when you going? You going? Or you said for what weekend? I remember you told me Memorial Day weekend, right?
I don't know if it's it might be Memorial Day weekend, honestly. May 19th through the 22nd is when I'll be
Yeah,
out there.
that's about Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
does
it's
sound about right.
and that's a big weekend in Miami. That's a big
Oh
weekend period in Florida.
man, we were gonna go to Miami too, but oh, it was so expensive. Like,
Uh-huh. But
and I'm like,
Orlando's
man,
just as better.
yeah,
You still got the
Orlando,
strip, you still got everything.
absolutely, absolutely. And I've never been there either way, so it's like, why
Yeah,
not? But
it's
I
a dope
wanted to
vibe.
be
You'll have
Miami.
fun.
That spring break, man, would have been cool. But yeah, we're
Well,
gonna
and
go. What's
I
that?
also now I remember you told me that you wanted to see if there was any shows out there. So I have a couple of contacts out in Florida. So I'm gonna hit them up for sure again to because
Yeah, yeah.
that you asked me in the beginning, it was so many months ago. So I was like, like things happen all the time, but
Oh yeah.
I've been building, some more rapport with some Florida contacts for music. So I'm definitely gonna look into seeing if we can get you on the stage
And
out there.
they got a crazy market in Florida. They've got a crazy market, and people don't even understand the type of music that comes from Florida. I mean, Rod Wave is from Florida, and
Right.
that's just one aspect. I mean, they got different types of artists and stuff. I mean, I would love to get down there and perform. But if I
Right.
don't get the chance to perform, I'm still going out there with a bunch of merch, with a bunch of flyers, with a bunch of Pat Two Times and Lil Naughty stuff that's gonna
I'm
thumb
gonna
the.
get you a show. If my name ain't Miss TML, I'm gonna get you a show out there, Pat. You
I
watch and
believe
see.
it. I
Every time
believe.
I see one now, I'm like, damn, he said Florida. Okay, I know Pat needs that. Like, this is where it's like, but again, I want to get you on the right show. You know what I mean?
Right.
And now that I can remember
You
back
did
then,
connect me with some. You did connect me with somebody, but the dates didn't work out.
right?
He had. He
So
had. I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
Yeah, he had something. I forgot what the guy's name was at this point, but he had something. But I wasn't gonna be there during the time frame. I mean, it's got to be perfect. It's got to be that weekend of, or you know what I mean.
Right.
While
And
I'm
that's
there,
the thing. So the 19. Now I remember the dates. It's locked in my head. I have so much stuff going on in my head, Pat, that
I
it's
understand.
not that I forget. I just forget little parts and details. But now
I
that we've
understand.
actually talked, and I trust and believe, I'm gonna get you a show.
I understand. But besides Florida, I mean, I got another T Rail show coming up.
Okay.
I don't know if you know.
Know what? I didn't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yep. Now I can. Do
Yeah,
I
I
know
got.
what?
I'm opening for an artist named Fix.
Fix? Okay. I'd
I
never
don't.
heard of him. I
I'm not gonna lie to you. Neither have I. But
don't think.
I mean, it's a big deal for the area down here.
Uh
Um,
huh.
and the promoters wanted me there, so we got something worked out, and we're gonna give the people a show like we do. And I've started checking out his music, and it makes sense why they would want me there.
Right.
So I've got
So I'm
that coming up,
excited.
and then in
That's
July. I mean, I'm busy all year, boss lady. I am so busy. You know, Caskey.
yeah.
Got a Caskey show coming up in July.
Did I see you open for Little White too?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lil White. I opened up for Lil White a couple months ago in a small town, Lebanon.
Uh huh.
Lil White's is such a humble, cool dude. Him and his wife do everything. Do
Yeah.
everything together and they make it work.
Yep.
I
We had
went
a
on
show actually with our Up North artists because we did a Midwest tour. I have a couple of promoters that I've worked with out there, Scott Lampkins. A couple of people that brought us out there for shows, and I can tell you the Midwest support is ill. Like you guys definitely show up, and like you could be a nobody, but everybody loves you. You know what I mean? And it's like,
Yeah,
and they show
absolutely.
the sportsmanship, and that's the one thing that I loved about Midwest. Was that we did Project Pat. We had couple of other people, Lil White. We did a couple of shows with him. It was definitely a good time. And again, you guys are about your business when it comes to the shows, and you bring a crowd, and it's a crowd of people who really support the independent artists. So shout
Absolutely.
out to you guys for that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, it definitely just all plays into it takes a village. I mean, even if that's all it is like, hey man, let's just go check out Pat two times. Let's
That's
show him
right.
some love, or let's go show Joe Blow down the road some love. He's not, maybe he's down and out. I mean, yeah, the energy and the support is so real, and it just makes it worth it. Like now, that's not to say that there's no hidden agendas and there's slight competition or whatever, but for the most
Right.
part, like if we got 6 openers on a big show, the 6 openers are gonna get the same amount of attention unless you just stand out.
Right. That's very
So
true.
we definitely try to support and uplift, especially as an artist. Myself,
Right.
I'm gonna listen to you, even if you're trash. I'm gonna listen to
Right.
you, and I'm gonna be like, hey man, maybe this is what you could do different, or maybe you think about talk
Sportsmanship.
about
That's
something
what I
else.
love about you, honestly. But I know the other artist is trying to get in, and I have to go. But
That's
I
okay.
want you to come back. We're gonna definitely have a reunion show at the end of the season, and just have artists tap in and see what they had going on. If they have things going on upcoming. But again, you're part of the family, and I just appreciate the energy and just everything that you bring as an artist. And I'm here for you always for
Thank you,
support.
thank you so much, man. I truly appreciate it. Thank you for having me on your platform. I look forward to the future.
Thank you, Pat.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right, bye bye.
Bye.
She said, oh my God, I love the way you shine. Don't even try, I see you focus on your grind. I ain't never met someone like
Yo, Pat two times, man. 5 Fridays. Tap in, subscribe, all that shit. Look. Hey. Big body, big dog. It's Pat 2 with his little spazzing ass. Stepping on the necks of those who disrespect that they rapping ass, all capping ass. Backpacking, dick in the booty, faggot ass.